All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the trade findings and adjustments of Thursday, February 20th. It's good to have you this morning. I am Keith Bybee. Kevin had a little appointment this morning he had to be at, so I'm with you today. Just to get started, just want to wait a minute or so, see if anyone else filters in, as usual. While we're doing that, let's check out some of our indexes. So we're having a little bit of a sell-off today, and nobody really understands why. There's nothing really driving it. Market's pretty much ignored, coronavirus for the last couple weeks. So what that tells me is probably some profit taking. Do have a pivot point here that seems to be a pretty good resistance indicator. Let's look at some of the other. Dalmore has been looking at this pivot point as a support level. And finally, the NASDAQ. Kind of interesting. The S&P has more of a resistance level, and the Dow and the NASDAQ have more of a support level that they're kind of holding today. So if it's a sell-off for purely profit taking, again, which is what I would assume, what is the positive to take out of that today? What do you guys think? Profit taking, bit of a pullback. What's the positive to take out of that? Any thoughts are good. Not looking necessarily for a specific answer, although I gotta have my idea in mind. Rich says there will be buybacks. Yes. So I assume what you mean is buying the dip once it hits support. Perfect, Rich. That's what I would say. That's what I think. So what this tells me for any trades or thoughts today is I would be looking closer to the end of the day where we're going to want to see some follow through, maybe some buying into the close to show us that it is going to hold a support level. I mean, in reality, it could be just the sell orders just stacked up there. And it's kind of funny because, you get the day traders and everybody looking at kind of what the market's trying to do today. You might have some sell orders stacked up from bigger institutions and create a little bit of selling that then is followed and creates that weird chain of reaction that doesn't really have a rhyme or a reason on an intraday basis, but yeah, one thing leads to another and starts to go down. Question: how close do you look at after hours trading to determine entry into the positions associated with that movement? So I don't necessarily look at it that way. Futures just give an idea of where things are headed for the next day. And really, if it's looking like it's a sell-off in the futures, I'm looking at how the market reacts the morning of the next day. And if it gets closer to the open and the futures are getting better than they were, obviously that's a more positive sign. And then to see some follow through in the morning, that there's some buying to prop things up and support where you will less likely see continued selling. So that's kind of where I look. I don't necessarily look at it as determining an entry into positions. It's more, do I need to protect positions that I have or adjust? All right, so let's go over a couple things. So I guess to sum that up, just to tie that in, today I just kind of want to see the market kind of hold itself up or pare back some of the sell-off towards the close to be more comfortable with entering a new trade or that kind of thing. Just to give you guys an idea, because if it doesn't, obviously that means we could see some more selling tomorrow. All right. Sprint. Now I know some of you went ahead with sprint bull calls around this range, 850-ish, even though my suggestion was, up to $10 isn't amazing upside, but for those of you that went ahead with it, you could get out today at pretty much the top of the last week and probably be pretty significantly profitable there. And I mean, you could squeeze out probably a little more profit closer to 10, but we're all also getting to this overbought, and I mean, if it's fantastically profitable for you, take a profit. No problem, Rich. So I guess what I'm saying is it's not necessarily worth squeezing out a little more profit there because I don't know that it's really going to take off past 10. And I could be wrong, but everything that I've looked at through it would tell me that T-Mobile has a somewhat easy chance to renegotiate a buyout price lower than that $10 um, previously agreed upon price. So I wouldn't expect to see it run up to 12 or 15, or at least if it does, it's pure speculation and not really a trustworthy, educated guess at this point. So I had suggested a target back on, what was it, the 10th or 11th cover call position. I think it was the 11th. Tuesday night. Let's see, 11th.
Get going. I'm running freeway.
Have that short call expire worthless and be out of that position before earnings on March 3rd. What was that? Or so closer to, I should say. You could think about if you didn't get that, seeing if it comes down and tests that pivot point again at 116, and see if you can't get another chance there. You'll have less credit. You know, that kind of thing. Less time in it to have to worry about. Just do your numbers and decide if it's worth it. But with that said, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the ex-dividend was the 18th. So you would have, to capture that dividend, which was kind of the whole point, think it was the 18th, but it's not showing it here anymore. I'm 99% sure. So I'm going to erase that. Never mind. You missed your chance. Sorry. 14th was kind of the last day that you could really get that decent price and get that dividend. So forget about it. So I wanted to look at GE again that Kevin had talked about Tuesday, I think. Not much has changed, but maybe I can say worth reiterating that trade. And I think it was just a 10. Let me see. Oh, let's look. Excuse me. Had it open. So 15 and 20. That's what it was. Way out in time. January 21. 15 strike bull call against a January 21 20 strike short call for a leap bull call. So I would suggest keeping an eye on that. I think it would be worth even waiting another day. See if it comes back and tests this 1221 pivot point that I've got up here. And it's almost oversold. So you might actually get a better price looking at that point. Let me see. It doesn't look like Kevin has put that one on yet, at least in this account. So I'm sure if he had put it in another account, but I think he's put it on for a few people already. But if you're looking at that one, you might as well wait to see if it comes and tests 1223 pivot point tomorrow. And if it doesn't, no big deal. Let's say it just heads back up. You're getting into a similar cost basis anyways. So that's one I would suggest keeping an eye on. I think the cost basis, he being Kevin, 61 cents. You might get a little closer to 55 cents if you wait and possibly see that pivot point. See it test that pivot point. Another idea would be to leg into it. But again, why not just see if it tests that? That's what I would do. That's my suggestion. You guys do what you think you want to, but if you are going to try and bite at it today, I would kind of leg into it and see what happens then tomorrow to get a second leg in. So, thoughts or questions on those so far? This is just from last time I spoke about it, Baidu. I'll just leave it on just for general look at it. Let's just look at Baidu. It's come down today. See how it's doing. Pretty much at the lows. But the trend is bullish and positive. Let me just do a little drawing here. Kind of crooked. Meant something more like, no. Terrible. Failed art. There we go. Something like that. But I would call that a bullish channel. And certainly not bad for kind of breaking past the whole coronavirus stuff. All right, guys. That's kind of it for me. If there's anything you'd like me to look at, you're curious about. Oh, you know what? There is one more thing I was looking at. I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not looking back at Costco in recent months. It just seems to keep going up, darn thing. But this one I, again, kind of look at as, this might be something to look at in the future on a pullback. Last time it was overbought around mid-January. Came back and tested pivot points here, pivot points here. So I wonder if it might try and do that again. Keep an eye on that. Maybe we'll get something, see if it comes back to test 316-ish pivot point here, or even comes down to 310 and catch a dip buying bounce. I'd ask, do you have a watch list of stocks that are good for trading? I seem not to be able to gain trading GE and MU. Most everything on my watch list, Ida, is ones that we've consistently talked about. Other than that, it's ones I just like to keep my eye on for just for reference. Like, I mean, I have no intention of doing anything with Tesla, but it's kind of in my watch list because it's one of those big ones that's just interesting. Seems to keep going up into the stratosphere for no reason whatsoever on no earnings, and and we do trade and invest in Ford, so it's another car manufacturer. So just keeping an eye out. Micron is great when it's great, and it's really obnoxious when it's not. Um, kind of headed sideways for the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? But it is whipped around pretty good, so I can see getting whipsawed out of some trades here pretty easy. I've traded Micron in the past, decent chip stock, but problem with those is they trade like a commodity because they follow the DRAM and NAND memory processors. It just kind of trades like a commodity where it doesn't necessarily matter as much where earnings are. It's kind of more about where those memory processors are selling for. That's kind of the trick with Micron, is you just have to have some patience and just look a little further out in time instead of getting too worried about some of these swings. You'll do better if you have some more time in trades. And I would look at just kind of looking across the last 6 months. You have a couple times where you've bounced off either the 50-day or some support levels here. Come up past the support level, come back down. Come up, couldn't quite hold a a resistance level, came back down to the 50. Why not see if you're looking to get into a Micron bullish trade, I would wait till find a decent period. You can be patient and see if it just happens to come back to the 50-day and test it, and then put a bullish trade on there. I would not just do it for the sake of the fact that I just told you that, but I would look at the circumstances, look at the news on Micron, and see why it's trading down if it does come to test that 50-day, and make your best educated guess. I'll keep this one in mind to bring up later because there might be some opportunity there, but right now I would just be sitting on my hands and waiting to see a dip buying opportunity on a pullback to the 50-day. Costco. Let me get back to Costco real quick. Does that help, Ida? Good. So again, Costco, I guess it is kind of like what I just said with Micron, but Costco trades more on same store sales, more on earnings, on things you would more expect a company to move up or down from. But again, waiting to see if it comes back and tests that 316. Three. Opportunity. Let's try that. There we go. If it doesn't, you're definitely going to want to see it hold around a 310. But man, if that thing doesn't just get up. I am a little bummed. I didn't look at it, but I mean, retrospect is 2020. It kind of went sideways forever. Didn't really get a Christmas rally until after Christmas, January. It was amazing. Good company. I don't know if you guys shop at Costco, but we shop there. I think they're good. They're just in a 30,000 foot view. They're set up well, in my opinion, against something like an Amazon that has warehouses and ships everything all over the place and kind of taking over the industry, so to speak. I think their Costco is well positioned to kind of fight within that scenario because they already have warehouses. They have a subscription model. People just spend tons of money at Costco. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? That's kind of it for me. Again, if you're looking to put something on, I'm really not suggesting anything for today unless there was one that Kevin had suggested that you're still kind of looking at, but really that would be GE, which I told you to look at, seeing if it doesn't test the pivot point because it's so close. Might as well look for a decent price there. And let's see some buying into the close if we're really going to be more comfortable with the market being prone to buying the dip, or if it's going to wait and see a bit more of a sell-off before buying starts to happen again. Any last thoughts or questions? All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful Thursday and good luck tomorrow, and have a wonderful weekend after that. You're welcome. Thanks, Rich. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time.